Today, I'm going to take you through how to change the line on the Ryobi cordless 18-volt line trimmer. So you'll see you've got these little grey spots with the arrows on them on the trimmer head. They're actually released, so you can press both of them in to release the cap. And from there, you've got access to your spool. Once you've got access to that, you can get the line off and you can change it quite easily. Ryobi do sell a replacement head and spool kit. So it comes with a new head cap, a new spool, and with the line already wound onto it. It is quite expensive though. It only has 4 meters of line on it and it costs about $17 Australian. So it's really quite expensive compared to doing the line yourself. As an example, you can get 15 meters of line for about $3.70 from Bunnings, which is much cheaper, obviously. So to replace it yourself, you want to take off the cap, remove the spool, and then you get your line, and you want to find, if you have a look around it, you'll find the little gap in the spool where there's a bit of a hole, and you can feed the end of your line into there. You want to feed it in as far as you can go, and then bend it back so that you're spinning around the head in a clockwise motion. So it'll create basically a hook for the line to hang on to the spool. And then you want to thread it around, working your way all the way around the spool in a clockwise motion constantly, being careful that your line does not overlap anywhere. So you want to just keep feeding it and make sure it's nice and tight and working your way around until you get all the way down to the bottom of the spool. And then you can start working your way back up from there towards the top of the spool. Now, Ryobi recommends not putting too much line on the spool, and I think that's a bit of a given. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to go back up once. As you can see, it's quite easy to do. The only problem is if you accidentally let go of the spool or the line, you obviously lose tension and then it'll go everywhere and you'll have to start again. Once you've got all of your line wound onto your spool, you then want to obviously trim it down. You can trim it first, and that does make it a little bit easier to wind it on. But if you're not 100% sure of length, I find it better to just do it once you're finished. So you want to leave a good 10 centimeters or so to make it easier to feed it through the eyelet. So once you get to the end and you've got as much wound on as you want, have a look at the top and you'll see on opposite sides you've got 2 little grooves. Now what you can do to help hold the line in place is if you pull it up through one of those little grooves and then back down through the next one, that will actually lock your line in place on the spool and you won't have it coming undone. Now that's really, really handy for feeding it back in to the actual line trimmer. So you insert the spool back into the head and it'll lock in quite easily. But first, I find it's much easier to put the line in. So you'll find the little eyelet on the trimmer head and you want to feed the end of your line through there. And once you've got it through, you can then insert the spool into the trimmer head and it'll lock into place. Now just be careful while you're doing this to make sure that you don't get the line caught under the spool. You want to make sure it's still just feeding nicely around the spool and out to the eyelet. Once you've done that, you can slide the line back out of the grooves that are locking it into place in the spool. And now you're all good to go. Just take the grey cap and lock that back into place, making sure those little tabs with the arrows on them line up with where they lock into on the trimmer head. And once that's on, you're all good to get going again. So I hope you found this video helpful. For more information and pricing on these line trimmers and on line, and of course also on the one-piece replacement units, click the affiliate links down in the description. And of course, if you like this video, give it the thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this from me. Bye for now.